Episode number 236 with Steve and Mike.
I got X-ray specs for eyes, I can see right through you.
Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike Snyderman.
How the hell are you, Mikey?
Do we have to keep that as the intro?
We need to come up with something else.
No, that's fine. I'm good. Tired as usual, Steve.
Yeah? Did you have a late night last night?
I didn't get back. I didn't go to sleep till like 5 a.m. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Sorry
where'd you go play?
Same place as usual. Yeah, another suck ass night, Steve. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm.
The home game, or were you at Oceans? Or?
No, the casino's open.
Okay.
And the casino's open where you are, or you've got bigger burning trees to fry.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy at work. I haven't been out on any of the brush fires, but the guys are getting sent out, and I've been covering at the stations for when they're gone.
What is the Ventura topography? What's the word I'm looking for? Is there a lot of trees there? How close are you to the mountains, the hills, where all the forests are? What kind of peril are you in?
So far it's just been first world problems. I went out to the river about a week ago. I flew out there, and then I checked the weather before I flew back, and the weather looked good. But a couple of fires had popped up in the meantime. And sometimes it takes a little while before the pilot weather reports start reflecting. It's just kind of reporting clouds and winds and stuff like that. And it may take a little bit before they start reporting smoke and haze. And that was the case here. The fires popped up the day before I left, and when I went out, the winds were basically blowing the smoke from. The fire was kind of in between Parker, Arizona, and Santa Paula, California, where I got to land, and the smoke was just blown straight towards right in my path. And after about an hour or so of flying, I was like, this is getting to be. I got to fly by visual flight rules, So I'm not an instrument pilot, so if you can't see a few miles out, then alarm bells started going off in my head, and I remembered a training program that I went through, and the guy said that the number one killer of VFR pilots, visual pilots like I am, is they continue to fly into instrument type weather. And that's exactly what this was becoming. So I turned around and I landed at the nearest airport, which was in 29 Palms. And then I stayed the night in a hotel there, hoping that the winds would shift the next day, which is what they were forecast to do. And when I went out to the airport, the weather reports were wrong. They did not shift. And so the whole place was just smoky. So I had to leave my plane there, and then I rented a car and drove back. And so now my plane's sitting out in 29 Palms.
Well, that's a pain in the ass. How much
Yeah.
do you pay? Do you have to pay a nightly charge to keep it there?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. It's only $5 a night, so I mean it could be
okay.
a lot worse. Like Santa Barbara's $35 a night, so that could get pretty expensive quick. But $5 a night is no big deal. But I'm not so worried about that. It's just that it's an unmanned airport. No one's really there. I can't get a hold of anyone on the phone. And planes like mine are perfect for drug runners to steal, and you can get a little 120-pound guy in my plane, and he could fill it with about 300 or 400 pounds of coke and just go back and forth across the Mexican border until they discover the plane is missing. So I don't think that'll happen, but it is kind of in the back of my mind. I want to get out there and get the plane.
Sure.
But so hopefully I can get out there pretty soon. My buddy was gonna go, but then he got called out to a fire, so I was gonna tag along with him and then fly it back. But looking at the weather reports, I don't even know that I would be able to fly it back. It's still really smoky out here.
Do we have a prognosis here? How long this shit lasts? I don't know. You've been doing this for a long time.
I think
Is this something we could have bad air fucking fires for like a month and a half, or no, usually 2 weeks max?
I think in another couple of weeks it's going to be done. Like my buddy went out on this fire yesterday, and he's pretty sure this is probably his last appointment. So I think it's dying down. But we'll see. You never know. Sometimes the fire season goes pretty late. But I think in Southern California, it'll probably be wrapped up by the beginning of October.
Sounds like you're safe, Stevie. You're still helping cats down from trees while the real men are rushing to the ninth circle of hell to fight the fires.
Yes. Yes.
Made a good move on that, man.
Yeah,
Find yourself a nice suburban town.
What's that?
Sorry. I said, find yourself a nice suburban town to be a fireman, not in the fucking forestry, whatever.
Yeah. It's definitely a young man's game. I mean, I did it when I was younger, and now that I'm getting older, I'm like, you're sleeping in the dirt, and it just, I don't know. I'm a much more effective fireman going on a garage fire or a strip mall fire than I am going out on the wildland ones. I'll let those guys handle that, and then I'll just cover their, because we have to keep all the stations open. It's not like, oh, the guys are gone, we can just shut the station down. No, you're just stuck there until they come back, and I'd rather be that guy than the one going out on the fires. Both jobs have to be done. I'll take the city job.
What is the most horrible thing you've seen in a fire in terms of someone being burned, anything like that? Like basically you show up and like have someone's already like they're already toast. You know what I mean? They're barely hanging on and burns. That's something you've seen. I'm just thinking about the people who died in these fires. I mean, it's got to be like the worst way ever to go, right? It's so helpless. Yeah, you're trapped in a house. You're driving, and all of a sudden you're just literally surrounded and. Yeah, it's just sad. I'm sure did you hear the story about the 10-year-old boy? They found him in the car with his grandmother with his puppy on his lap.
Oh God.
He was clutching the dog is how they found him,
That's tough. Yeah, you see quite a bit of that. The last one we got was probably about a month ago. It was a guy, older guy in a mobile home. And by the time we got there, mobile homes, they burn so fast. They don't have drywall. So, drywall, gypsum board just really, keeps the fire from spreading. It's a great,
just a dry splinter.
Yeah. It's just a little tinder box. I mean, it's like it's made of, popsicle sticks, and they just go up instantly. And this poor guy, he made it just enough to be able to roll off the side of his bed, and then that was it, lights out. Those ones are, although from what I've heard, it's basically like you don't necessarily burn to death. What happens is you breathe in the CO and the superheated gases, and you black out, and that's basically it. So it may not be quite as bad as you would think.
Just horrible it's burning still just, flesh until, yeah.
I don't know which I'd rather have, that or drowning. I think they'd both be terrible. But, yeah, those ones are tough.
Don't worry, Steve. Some jealous husband's going to shoot you. It'll be quick and painless. Just taking a guess. I don't know.
Oh, shit. So what you been up to? It's been a little while.
Yeah, all sorts of what is going on with my life, Steve? How do I summarize? Extreme duress, financial well, the one good news I just got. I finally got my unemployment.
Ah, good for you.
So that took like 6 months there practically. And I got 17,000 at once.
Oh, you got retro.
Yeah. So I got, but it's still, yeah, we'll see. I still got the massive credit card debt. It's just not getting paid off. So something needs to, some sort of sacrifice is coming here soon. Whether it's, remind me to tell you about my first day of working in 5 years, Steve. I had a job after one day and was fired.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to. If I got together a fucking team of scientists, say, please make me a bigger fuck up. They just would they couldn't come up with anything, believe me. But yeah, I'm off the ledge.
Okay.
Losing money in life and looking for a way out
Damn.
of poker here. I don't know what that
Can you
is,
hear me?
Steve. It's not like I can't give up the game or the love, because that's kind of gone. It's what I can't
Mike,
do is get a
I
fucking
can't hear you.
job and work after having 6+ years of making my own schedule.
Fuck.
I don't know. Maybe I just need a reset, get a new apartment, walk away from a couple of these credit cards. I thought you had to declare bankruptcy, but I got talking to one guy. He says he's done it before. He's like, just stop paying. It takes a month. They'll be calling you desperately, and then you just ignore these conversations. They'll sell the debt off. You'll get, I know I hate to be like, I'm turning into a professional grifter here, but I don't really have a choice. So maybe if I just walk away from the credit card debt, I can keep the apartment. I don't know, but this apartment is important to me, Steve, for whatever reason. I can't explain it.
Why is it?
I like living next to the beach. This is a sign that I've accomplished something. And my son loves the place too. He's got his nice room, and so yeah, I just don't want to give it up, and I don't want to have a roommate. I'm fucking 50 years old in a few weeks here. That's like just a horrible thought to me. But so basically, though, all I've done by getting unemployment is be able to push off this decision for a couple months. Because I don't have a great confidence here that I'm ever get back to form with poker, but I don't know. I can't really gauge it. The games are so good right now, but still break even for the month, or actually I'm down a little bit. So no, quickly, I have a buddy a few months ago. He offered me, it's when I say fired, yeah, pretty much fired though. I had you would tell this story much more coherent way, Steve. I'm already considering myself. Long story short, he offered me a job doing like data entry a few months ago. I'm like, no, I'm fine. So finally, I'm like, do you still have that? He's like, well, I don't really need that, but I could use a delivery guy. He owns a door and windows business.
Okay.
He'll sell like large construction projects and stuff. So all I had to do was drive to LA. Oh, I mean, it's like, it was over 3 hours around, and pick up this door and bring it back to him.
Okay.
So I went there, and it's already like a big box truck. So I'm already in a panic, Steve. You know what I mean? Like just parking it. How do I back up to a loading zone? Isn't it? All in all, it wasn't too bad. I show up there, and my buddy had also said there's like ties or whatever you call them in the back. You make it nice and so it can't move at all.
Yeah, the tie down straps.
And I told him, I honestly said, listen, my back's, I just can't move the furniture. He's like, you don't need to, they'll do it for you. And like, when they tie it, here's the stuff if they want to tie it down. He didn't really say they have to tie it down. But so I asked them, can you tie it down? They're like, hey man, it's so heavy it won't even move. It's 2,000 pound door or something big. Of course, the thing slides and hits against the side of the truck like 5 minutes outside the
Oh shit.
place. I almost turned around and killed somebody. I mean, I was like debating. The door turned out to be okay. We came back. I mean, the thing was massive and covered, on a pallet and wrapped up, and I don't think you can put a scratch on the thing. But either way, it can certainly slide across the floor. I learned. But it ended. I went back, got it safely. Everything's okay. And I went to park the truck, and I ran into another vehicle.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. So it's my buddy. I'm not going to screw him over. We talked. It was barely a scratch. I'm like, maybe I can make it maybe we can make a cash deal. The lady took $500, which I paid out of pocket. So my first day of work, I lost $500. It kind of sounds like my other job, Steve, doesn't it? I mean, you do a good. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
How'd you hit the car? Was it backing up or?
No, it was. They told me where to park. They're like, just go around the corner under the canopy, under the trees. And the biggest trees and canopy was this little parking spot, whatever. Not a little parking spot. But anyways, I turned in. There was a camper or something, or Mercedes Cruiser, whatever you call those things. And I just scraped the front of the car into their side light. It was, I mean, really a small scratch. So I was lucky that it, it could have been worse. Then if it was any worse, it would definitely had to go through my buddy's insurance because I couldn't afford it. And then, I have an enemy for life because I couldn't even really afford the 500, to be honest. This was like the day before, but I knew unemployment was likely coming. So, but yeah, no excuses. Just forgot that I was parking a truck rather than my car. Didn't leave myself enough space. So we could cross another something off the list that I can't do.
Don't drive a box truck.
Yeah. I don't know, Steve. Maybe I should try to get back to the post office. That's probably my best option.
Are you just over cards?
Well, I still haven't been able to study, Steve. I mean, I told myself an hour video a day. Like, I have to get better for long term. The run bad again. I've got like 2 months to turn it around. That's about as long as I have. I got to have a nice fat winning month. And the love of the game, like I said, I'm telling myself to play at least 8 hours, but I've been switching that. I'm like, okay, let's play 10, and I just have not made 10 hours yet. I used to be able to do that, grind my way out of the hole, and now I've had great difficulty. Because after 8 hours, I just want to be in my bed because I'm tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve, I don't know if there's no simple. Either way, there's some sort of things going to be happening here that are going to be very unpleasant for me here. Whether it's even if I hold on to poker, like I said, it's getting a roommate or moving into like an apartment, 10 miles inland where we can walk on the beach. Walking away from debt or creating or not paying for a few months and making deals where I pay them all off, with no interest over 2 years or something, one of those kind of deals.
Yeah.
But there's no amount of run good right now that digs me out of the hole. It's just not going to happen, unless I were to bink a big tournament or something. But that's, I'm done playing those things. So.
Yeah, you have to play those to bink them.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done with that. So, yeah, that's about it. Kind of, unbearably bad the poker's been going. I don't know. I had 9 straight losing sessions at the casino. That's just a statistical anomaly. I know the last 2 sessions same way with me, almost the exact identical hands, not to give the bad beat story, but when it's running bad, it's bad, where I had the nut straight on the turn against top 2 pair and got it in. And I lost both of them.
Jeez.
Once was like a 1,800 of the pot, another one was like a 2,500. I forget. Both times they were like the last hand of the night. I'm like, okay, I'm going home.
Damn.
So whatever that is, they're 91% favorite or something that I went in as, but so there's been a lot of horse shit. It's definitely the worst run bad, but I don't even know. Like last night I lost 1,400, and I can think of, let's see, I don't know. There's one time maybe I had to pay a guy off. There is definitely 2 hideous bluffs. One guy who I played, just the wrong guy to bluff. He's he plays every pot and just doesn't like to fold. I mean, needless to say, but I thought he was definitely capped and I'd go for it. So I like bombed a river for $400. I think it was the slight over bet, like 320 in the pot or something. And he called me with 4th pair. He had 5 deuce. Wow. He had a 5 deuce on like a 10-9, 6-5, 3 flop or something. I don't remember what it was. And I mean, the problem was, it's not like I proceeded in the hand with nothing to start with. Like it should have been a check, just give up. I don't even remember what the fuck I had. I had like king jack suited and I flopped like, nothing, not even backdoor gutter, you know what I mean? Or flush or whatever. So it was there's times where I don't mind bluffing this player, but this was stupid. I shouldn't have had $1 in the pot, where I still have that mentality, Steve, because sometimes it works where I can get in, I can get in any, I can call C bets. I'm not supposed to call and C bet because I'll just blast my way out of it on turns and rivers. But needless to say, that is not good poker thinking.
That was the wrong guy to do it against.
Yeah, I mean, just generally speaking, my poker 101 philosophy, which is just, yeah, if they don't have a set, they're never calling me down this hand. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna take them down. But I'm actually playing less hands. My one buddy was kind of getting on it. He's like, "Dude, this is why you're not winning. You're playing so nitty." Because I opened the ace deuce of diamonds one hand, and some guy 3-bet. Some other guy called. Not only had to call 45 more, but it was the right fold. I don't know. They're both like 800 or 900 deep. I don't think it's. I shouldn't open the hand anyways. But anyways, I would have flopped the nut flush, and they both went all in. So that's when it's running bad. That's just how it is. What else is what's keeping me going here, Steve? I don't want to talk about the woman you've heard me talk about very, very often is I'm in communication with her.
Really?
I decided I don't give a shit. I'm going, I want to try one time. And I wasn't really expecting her to respond other than, I responded to her, and the first thing she's like is, "Fuck you, loser," basically, "get off." And then, I think I made a joke. It feels like you're trying to tell me something, something like that. And then conversation, and she remembered how funny I was, and the conversation entailed. But I don't want to jinx it. And, a major crash could be coming if we don't, I don't see her soon, but we'll see. We're kind of supposed to get together, hang out.
Huh. Is she in the area, or is she out?
No, she lives on the other side of the country.
Oh, okay. Maybe when you go visit your parents? Or?
Well, I already have travel plans set, actually. I just don't want to get too much in it. But
Okay.
The other one thing is, Steve, I've actually kind of got off my ass. I made a couple started a vlog again, which you tried to help me with 5 years ago. It was a disaster.
Yes.
Are
we talking Rampage Diaries?
Yes, till one Samoan decided to shake me down for my last few dollars, and then Jesus, I'm such a pussy. How did I even
the $30 an hour?
How did I? Yeah, the guy with a bloody nose who can't walk because he's 600 pounds, but you know what I mean. It was just ridiculous, and it's making me angry just thinking about it. They're not called the Rampage Diaries yet. It's just if you go to there's I posted a couple of videos on my Twitter, so people can go there and link. And I don't know. Eventually I want to do like some sort of. I just want to put up a couple months of good content, and then I'm going to try to think, see if I can monetize this. People got to pay $5-10 a month on the site to. Yeah, like I said, I'll keep doing. We kind of briefly talked about it. I'll keep doing your podcast once a month, but I'm also going to try to do one or twice a month on my own, where maybe I do like a 2-hour thing, and then half of it is for free, and then the other half, if you want to listen to it, you gotta pay my monthly fee, kind of thing.
Yeah, like a premium membership.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what are the videos I put up. Like I thought, basically any sort of interesting person I meet at the poker table, I can go out and do like an interview. So there's going to be those videos. Then there's going to be the ones where I go over, whatever funny videos. Me and my son do something. I go out and take a video and we put it together. So sort of, I guess, the bio videos, the poker bio videos, basically hands at the casino, how I'm doing there, the personal bio videos, the interviews, and then I don't know, in a podcast, hopefully. And then I don't know if I can manage. I'm thinking of Assassinato, how he does all this shit too, and then do I want to do a blog too, though? Where I put some writing in and, read some fucking article from Sohan and give my 2 cents or, so that's a lot of work if I want to do all that.
What, where can people find it? Like, where are your videos at right now, on YouTube or?
Yeah, I have a YouTube. I have a Vimeo too. I think how it's going to work to charge, I think Vimeo, you can do a thing where there's, your videos are private, but public for someone who's got like a passcode. So basically that's, you send out the passcode, and that's how that would work. You also, Patreon or what, how do you pronounce that, Steve? I don't even know.
Patreon?
Yeah, you have, if they walk through their sort of tutorial and that how, some of the things they do. And then they also strongly suggest having a shop started, because I had that at Rampage Poker. I had some cool shit in that, actually. Yeah. So do I restart that? Get someone to do a design for T-shirts or whatever. I don't really like Rampage Poker, but I think it's not really fitting. But I've already invested in the brand here, Steve. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be
Funny you mentioned that.
it's gonna be Rampage Poker one. I don't know how to find it on YouTube. If you look, there's another person with Rampage Poker actually has a successful poker blog. But I wasn't going to change my nickname just because that's what this guy's is. So, but if you look up a Rampage,
Okay, yeah, I see Rampage Poker here. Yeah, it looks like another guy. Rampage Poker on YouTube.
How about Rampage Poker 1? Put the number 1.
Oh, okay.
See
Rampage Poker 1. Let's see. Rampage Poker 1. Biggest winning session yet? Rampage Poker Vlog?
No.
We might need to come up with another name.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going. If people are going to be the first video I did already, got like 125 views in the first 12 hours or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So that's not bad. Basically, I'm gonna be putting them on Twitter and Facebook and asking people to share, to watch, to that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I had 15 people. I think I only had 4 people follow my Facebook page, and now I got like 15 or something. They signed up for
Okay.
it.
Remember, that's how this show started. Our first week we had 4 downloads. And the second we had like 19, and it kept going. But I've been thinking about that too. I think I'm going to change the name of this show. I think I'm going to call it the Stevie B Show. And I was talking with some friends and just a lot of the listeners, honestly. And it's like Clayton Fletcher said years ago. He's like, you've kind of pigeonholed yourself into just attracting people that are interested in poker. And not only that, but when they search your show, it comes up Heads Up Poker. And they're like, well, I like to play sit and goes. I don't want to listen to Heads Up Poker. And then it just never gets downloaded. And some of the listeners in particular, even their wives like the show and they listen to it, but they don't play poker. And I think that, to get a broader base of listeners, because this show has kind of evolved over the last 5 or 6 years, just into you and I shooting the shit. And then sometimes we discuss a hand at the end of the show, and I've been bringing in other people and my last guest, Danny, we didn't even talk about poker at all. We just talked about stocks and financials. And I'm afraid that I've pigeonholed myself into only attracting people that are interested in poker. And then once they listen to the show, they realize that, oh, it's not just about poker, let alone even Heads Up Poker. But, I kind of like the content and it's fun to listen to. But I think I've, I think with this name, now that having 5 years of experience doing this, I think it's kind of pigeonholed the show into only attracting people that what's that?
The number of followers kind of plateaued here, the number of downloads, is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is a steady climb. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm only attracting people that are interested in poker. And then when they listen to the show, they're like, oh, they're talking about stocks, they're talking about other stuff, and this is interesting. But we never would have grabbed them in the first spot if they didn't like to play cards.
Yeah. I hate to disagree with you, Steve, seeing I'm a penniless loser here. But I think there is a brand name. Whether the brand name, it's not McDonald's, but I don't know. I mean, no one's going to listen. Anyone who listens to the show now is not going to stop listening since you changed the name. But that might look a little confusing. There's people who do not actually get for whatever reason, they don't get your podcasts automatically downloaded. They just search for it each. You got to change the name of your website, right?
True.
You got to get a new website. There's just a lot of podcasts out there. I mean, not to share it, Steve. I know the number approximately. This is a successful show you've got here. I mean, it's a pretty good number of downloads, I think. Believe me, there's a lot of people who hustle really hard, who I'm sure don't even get nearly as much. Yeah, I understand it on a kind of a theoretical level. Did you like I have not listened yet to the podcast on financing. Is this part of what you're thinking? Because you want to branch out from poker. You're a little bored with it. I mean, you don't want to feel obligated to talk about it when there's other things you find more interesting.
Yeah, the stocks thing has really been interesting to me lately, and I got a lot of positive feedback on that show. I think next I'm going to have on the guy that taught me stocks and Danny as well. And he's also really into real estate. So I want to have him on and pick his brain on that. And
Even like we
yeah,
said,
I just haven't been playing. Well, I did play cards last night and I'm playing again tonight, but I don't put nearly the hours in that I used to. And
yeah.
I'm certainly not going to quit playing.
Well,
that's
we
for damn
want
sure.
we want the podcast to go on. So if you're kind of losing passion for talking about poker, then yeah, a move needs to be made.
I think if I talk about it enough over the next 5 or 6 shows and then make the transition, our core listeners will
Right.
simply subscribe to
I mean,
the
you can
next
put
one
you
and,
can
and
do
continue. It'll be the same show, but just a different name.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could do like one listener hand every day, every time. That's just what starts it. I don't know, but yeah, but
Ah.
I don't. Just to get a little poker kind of out of the way, boom, 5 minutes. I don't think. Yeah, we'll see, Steve. I'll defer to your wisdom on this. But like I said, if you're thinking along, like if you wanted to, well, Stevie B show's fine. But if you wanted to switch it to a show about finance, I mean, you think there's a lot of poker there are a lot of poker podcasts. There's got to be a gazillion of those kind of people giving their little investment ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not necessarily just finance, but
right. No,
I don't
yeah.
know, over the last 5 years, what have you and I talked about for, poker seems to make up,
right.
what, 20% of the conversation?
Right. Well, yeah, but that's what I do for a living. So that's, that's what I'm going to talk about probably a lot of the time. But
Yeah.
I would like to think I'm still a worthy guest, Stevie B show. We can talk about other stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And now that you're branching out with your own brand, I think it'd be cool to, like you said, have you on every other time. And
I'm going to be pimping this hard, Stevie. I've got to monetize this. It's fun. I need a creative outlet. And yeah, that would be the Hail Mary of hope here. If somehow I can get this up and operational in the next 4 months and then get confident that, I've already worked. It took me like 6 hours yesterday to edit. That's a lot of it because I just was struggling with the software. And then it also kind of takes away the pleasure adds for work because I'm actually like holding up the camera at an angle to show when I show my reveal cards. I'm not taking a picture of the people there, just for. So that takes time. To go through those videos afterwards and transcribe them, taking notes at the table, kind of shit,
Yeah.
I'd rather just go and play poker. You know what I mean? So, how much is my time worth? I guess would be like, if this is 2 hours a day, I don't know if it's worth it if I charge, say, $10 for a membership and get 300 people.
That's $3,000 a month.
That's the target. Because if I'm working 60 hours a month on this, and it probably will be more, honestly, if I actually did get subscribers, I would really hustle to get some good. There'll be stuff up there every day. I wouldn't do that without. Yeah, we'll see if I can get it. But just looking into it, my son, was like, "Oh, you got to get the YouTube page. You need such a ridiculous to monetize YouTube. You need like 200,000 or 300,000 people following and liking your videos. Otherwise, it's just you're not really getting anything."
Yeah.
So basically, put up YouTube, and then hopefully, but if you get just 300 people, obviously, to pay $10 a month, you're making more than the person who's got. So I feel like there'd be like at least 20, 30, 40 people who would do it just as a gesture of friendship, and empathy during my troubled times. But if it were to grow after that, I don't know. But yes, highly financially motivated. We'll see if that's work. But that's a lot of things I got to do. I got to become a little, maybe even get some new editing software, become better with the computer, and got to go out and get my drone shots and do, you'll just looking at other people's poker vlogs. It really does help for, you take a little montage video wherever you are, you know what I mean? So it all takes time, but yeah, it's quite a bit to do. If I want to do video blog and a podcast and set up a shop and maybe even have a blog sort of congruent with the vlog, where it's about my writings and not about the not everything at video. And all the little costs that come with it. If I want to do Vimeo only, let's see, like download like one video a week or something. So if I want to use their format, I need to pay for it. There's going to be other little things that got to cost. So I think it's a slow build, but you know, if 6 months a year from now, if I'm not making at least $1,500 a month, my interest in it will decline rapidly.
You know, one thing I did with this show, and it took me a while to monetize it, but if you just put out content that people enjoy and you build a following, then things will start to come up that there's no way for you to even anticipate or know what they're going to be now. And it could be through YouTube, it could be through Vimeo, it could be through a blog, it could be, you just have no way of knowing.
Right.
But if you just put out good content and people listen to it, then things will naturally come up, and then, you know, that's when you put it out to the listeners, and you know, they'll either get it or they won't. But I would focus on building an audience first.
Right. Well, that's the idea, is to put out a lot of content on YouTube, probably a video every day here. I put up another video last night when I came home at 4 a.m. I decided as a joke to, not as a joke, I had a couple of hands to discuss, so I just set the OBS to doing some recording. And if anyone wants to go see that video, if it's, I think it's a pretty funny one, because I have the teddy bear on my lap, and I'm having the teddy bear whisper in my ear to give me poker advice while I'm looking at the screen. I thought it was, and yeah, the bear's name is Chop Chop. He's like a ninja.
Chop Chop.
Yeah, because he can swing with his hands. So I think that could be this could be the staple of the show here, Steve. Late night with Chop Chop.
It could be, yes.
And I put a couple hands in Poker Tracker or whatever, and then every night I come back and yeah, Chop Chop. I had some sort of soft porn in the background, and Chop Chop was like turning and looking at the porn and not paying attention to the screen, and I was getting angry, you know, that kind of thing. I recorded actually a bunch of this. I was having so much fun. I put one video up. I'd be surprised if the only thing could not make this successful a complete failure, Steve, is if I'm just too lazy and get too frustrated. So I'll try to. I have trouble with the follow through. You know, the 1% inspiration, the 99% perspiration. I know probably you know that.
Yeah.
Aphorism, or whatever the proper word is there. So yeah, keep going. The cool thing is, you know, I love my son. He's very excited about this.
Oh, good.
And first of all, he's good with the computers. He got figuring. I never would have figured out how to do set up the OBS thing. Well, that's not true. I fixed it because he had that. He didn't know how to take a video where you recorded the video, so I had to come up with a new file. And I mean, that took me like an hour and a half to figure that shit out, you know. But yeah, like I said, you know, I just gotta keep at it, keep working, and yeah. Although right now I need to be playing so much poker. Probably, there's times I'm doing this that I probably should be rushing to the casino to play, but I don't know. This thing might be a moneymaker. It's worked.
What? So how do we find you on YouTube? Rampage.
I guess I need to put a link in my Twitter. The top two the few videos on my Twitter right now are going to be, I'm going to just like, you know, tweet my video every day. So that's probably all my Twitter. I'm kind of getting bored with poker here too, Steve, or at least getting bored with, I'm never a real big social media presence. I was on Twitter just to follow a few other people more than anything else. But occasionally I'd put a little funny, try to put something that humorous little comment on the poker world, but it's not really. So yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the question. If I'm going to set up the Patreon account, am I going to set up my own website, maybe where I can link from YouTube to the website or Twitter to the website, and the website has the other maybe I don't even charge for it, but I have a bunch of, I'm pimping out a bunch of, things to sell, gear or whatever. If I were to get someone who come up with a really cool logo or something. I want to have ramp. I thought, the poke, the of course, the painting of the dogs playing poker.
Yeah.
I want to have like a pit bull with its teeth into the table, like just all the other dogs running away. I don't know, something ramp or something, some animal out of control.
Rampage.
But
Yes. Gorilla or something.
I don't know. I'd come
know.
up with something else, but something that doesn't involve my picture, like my last sweatshirt, which is, I think, fine. Who cares? But yeah, it's gonna take some work. Right now, it's just about getting the YouTube on. And I was asking my sister for. I mean, I'm always in a manic episode about once a year I have some creative burst where I'm like, oh, I got to do this, and it used to last for like a month, and now it lasts for like 6 hours before I give up. But I can't remember. Had some idea with my sister, and I was looking for help with this, and let's do this, and she's like, listen, call me when you have 1,000 followers on Instagram. You got to set up a little following on your own before you even think along those lines. So yeah. I'll be disappointed if I don't have 100 followers on YouTube within the next month or so. I don't know. Did you go to the Twitter? I'm talking about the links up there.
Yeah, I think so. So it's
so click on it right now and like the video, Steve, and follow me.
So late night hand analysis. That's the one you're talking about?
That's the last one I did, yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, there we go. 8 minutes and 12 seconds.
Right, press the like button.
Yes.
And then you also
thumbs up. There we go.
Follow me as well. There we go. Nice work.
Subscribe. There it is. All right. Subscribe.
Sweet. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. I look forward to watching it.
Yeah, again, like I'll have to, again, like you kind of want to move from poker. Like I eventually, no, I think poker is just like the spine of my show. You know what I mean? It gives me something, but I'm not going to be offering like world-class poker analysis for sure. I mean, I'm still a winning player. There'll be enough interesting there, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you've been making a living at the game for 5 years. I mean, you got some street cred there.
That's true. That's true, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the top 3 to 5%, maybe higher of the poker population. Probably higher, actually.
Not like I said, my earnings would probably at the best are like a top, better than like a lot of really good pros are better than me, just because because I played such long hours and I'm such a nit with the bankroll. Well, I haven't really been a nit with the bankroll, but if I just didn't do Bitcoin, then I would have another extra 140K in the month in my bank right now. I could use that. It's about how much those two things have cost me in the last 4 years, I think. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Where's my followers, Steve? I want to see how many I got here.
I think you're up to 14.
15. Okay.
Or 15 now that I
there we go, Stevie.
There it is. See?
So you said you're playing today. Where are you playing online or?
Yeah, I'm playing with the Poker Bros app that everyone's.
Okay, that's still going.
We're having a little tournament tonight at 6:30. $40 buy-in, $40 rebuy, $40 add-on.
How many people did you get in last night's
the local group that we started? The private group we started a while ago. We're getting the band back together.
Gotcha.
Me, Howard, Taylor, Josh. I think Dave might make it. As long as we get 5 to start, then.
How many people were in the tournament last night?
You know what? We didn't end up getting that one going. The site was down for maintenance, so we couldn't do it. I ended up jumping into some $40 turbo a couple levels before registration closed, and I quickly went out. So I don't even remember what the hand was. But I do. I had 10s, and the other guy had ace king, and that was GG.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Ray's called off like 19 bigs, something like that. Pretty uneventful. Alrighty. Okay. Said you got a hand?
Sure.
All right.
Since I've failed to come up with the goods in terms of stimulating conversation today, Steve, I can at least give you. Even though this will soon be just the Stevie B show and have nothing to do with poker, or less to do with poker.
Same show, just different name.
So what other, before we start the hands, what other kind of things do you think the show will be, other than maybe moving away? I mean, is there other like specific topics, like times where you'd be like, I'd love to have this guy on, but he'd be great. Are you going for like a more, I don't know, do you listen to Joe Rogan or Adam Carolla, like a more jokey guy hanging out with his friends kind of thing? I don't know.
I think it's going to be the same exact show, just a different name.
Okay.
I really do.
So you might be able to get a, of course I can be very amusing, but I'm also somewhat unreliable, Steve, as you know here. You might be able to get, like, I don't know what the deal is with Clayton doing the TPE vids of what kind of compensation they want, but LA, there's a million struggling comedians there. You probably could get a little permanent sidekick or something maybe to spice up the show, but the show's good, Steve. You just want to reach a few more people. It's basically
I think that like I said, I think I pigeonholed myself to the only way that people are going to find this show is if they have an interest in poker. Unless it's word of mouth from someone else.
But people will Google poker podcast. They're not going to Google podcast with a guy named Steve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Because I don't know. I feel like you should have the word of like some sort of, it needs some like sort of central thesis or whatever. I don't know what the word is. Some sort of theme to drag it, to bring it. Not that you even have to concentrate it, but just to like bring attention to it. Like one of my favorite podcasts, My Favorite Murder. These two chicks who just go back through like historical murders and stuff, and they're funny. And they kind of stand on their own as being smart and stuff. But, so they get around and bullshit about life, but they do have, the spine of it is every week they got a different murder. But if they called it the Jill and Katie show, you know what I mean? I think
may never have found
I don't, they might have anyways. If it's if it's really good material, people will find it.
Yeah.
And I think I like the idea definitely of talking about it for a while, so you don't lose anybody who's a regular here. You know what I mean? They're kind of prepared for it, and it's not going to be like one day you tweet and say, new show here.
Yes.
People don't like change, Steve.
Oh, I know.
7-Eleven moves the potato chips around, and I have a fucking panic attack.
Oh, Costco drives me nuts with that shit. They just randomly move something, and I'm like, bro, you've had it there for 2 years. Like, everyone has it memorized now. Like, what are you doing? I wonder if they even do it on purpose, to kind of get you into another area of the store.
It is just to give you an idea of chain. I worked at Tommy Hilfiger for a few months, 30 years ago.
Okay.
And that was the thing which would drive me crazy. Like every week we'd have to redo the store, move this here. Wouldn't even have to be any new material in. A few things would have to move. So somebody comes in shopping in the mall, hasn't been there in a month, and all of a sudden the place looks a little different. Oh, okay, let's see what's here. It's definitely deliberate. I don't know at Costco why that would be necessary, but that might have had, because Costco has such a just built-in, no one goes there to browse, you know what I mean? Like people go there it's not like at the shopping mall, people going around and looking for something to catch their eye. So I don't even know if that's necessary. That might have had some simple functional reason.
You might be onto something, because you know what? Now that I'm running through this, the last 5 years, the theme has been probably more professional gambling. With fantasy football, with the football pool, picking the teams every week, stocks, poker. Yeah, you might be onto something. Okay. If you guys got any ideas, write them in.
There you go.
pokerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter @HUP
If you tweet, please. We're thinking of giving a new name for the show. Anyone, any ideas? I mean, 98% of the people will be trolling and letting you know how lame you are. I mean, that's just how the internet works. But if you can kind of sense, there'll be people there trying to help who come up with.
Yeah.
No,
I'd
the
love to get
Stevie
you
show
guys' opinions.
might be fine. I don't know. Do you use the word fireman in there somehow, even though that's not what the show is going to be about either? Just that could be the initial
Yeah.
novelty. There's a fireman with a show here,
Okay. I was going to say that's such a small part of my life, but I spend
Right.
literally a third of my life at the fire station. So I guess it's not that small.
Call the show
but,
Flammable. And every episode just begins with me screaming with rage at something like I could actually be, on fire. Just trying to help out Steve, give him some ideas.
I thought you were going to say flamboyant.
Yeah, flammable, combustible. I'm trying to
flamboyantly flammable fire.
I don't know if we describe you as flamboyant. Steve, you don't really have any pink shirts and pink shoes, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, there you go.
No, I haven't skipped in quite a while. Maybe I should take that back up. I'm not sure.
Do you sell stuff on the site? I don't even know. Do you have a heads-up poker hat you can buy or any of that kind of stuff? I know you gave me one.
Yeah, I got a few left. But
that could be a way to, if you want to, monetize, get some cute little shop going.
Could,
but yeah, if I don't.
That's an idea. I really like the things like when I have Alex on and we sell his programs. When I have like this last poker site, I get raked back for everyone that I sign up. Give them a percentage of that back, and then the rest goes to the scholarship. I like ones like that are kind of digital, and you don't have to ship anything, and the customer gets a benefit out of it, and so does the show. And it's very I don't know. I feel like there's a bigger benefit, and it's easier, and kind of puts me in touch with our listeners. Although the hats were okay, but
well, if you the other thing to think about, not that there's probably a lot of people listening to the show are similar to me, working class, broke ass grinders. If you actually made it like a financially centered show, the average income of your listeners might be a little higher. Steve, willing to buy the some t-shirts and gear without like, oh fuck it, $50, whatever. I don't know, just. How about, now I'm trying to think, how about money on fire? Lighting fire on money? Switch it around.
Lighting money on fire?
I'm just, the expression, right? I'm just thinking of the name of your podcast. Something to do with money and fire.
Like a spinoff.
Something to do with money and fire. But yeah, who is, I don't even listen to. Well, who are your favorite, what podcast do you listen to? Let's put it that way. For money, is there anybody who? What does Dave Ramsey do? I don't know. Is he financial advice? I don't.
Yeah, he is. He's
because
he's good. I've listened to his book, Total Money Makeover, probably at least 4 times, maybe as many as 6. It's some real good stuff for guys that are like in debt and want to figure out how to get out. And actually, now that I'm mentioning it, have you read this book, Mike?
No.
It's pretty good. Do you have Audible?
I can't listen to Audible books. I need to.
Okay. Well, it's worth the.
Okay, maybe. So I guess my
$12 or whatever for the book, but yeah, that's a good one.
There's nothing wrong with taking an idea which kind of already works, but make it personal.
Yeah.
So what about his show that you could contribute that he doesn't have? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you doing fun. I mean, you are, Steve, you're not rich because if you're, but because of your job, I mean, you're not rich by any means, but you are on a certain level very optimal with money management.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely one of my
a fair statement,
attributes.
Right? People can definitely learn things from you.
Yeah.
I mean, I could if I wanted to. I have decided to ignore every fucking thing you say and just keep on doing the stupid things I'm doing just because, that's the way I'm used to it. But no, you're usually pretty all your little things about making beef jerky and smoothies and all this. You know what I mean? If you got like 50 or 100 of those hustles going.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of different ways to cut corners there, which are, of course, together are probably saving you $50 a day or something. You know what I mean? It's $15,000 a year. Multiply that by 30, add interest investment, then there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. That, you know what, that you're right. I do have a lot of those, just my food alone, like with, I rarely go out to eat. So, a meal that would cost $20 or $30 for lunch or something literally cost me like $1.50. And you just add that up. And,
yeah, my food is, I can save $1,000 a month on food here for sure. If I just,
dude, like, are you still doing the vegan thing or no?
No, I'm giving myself to October 15th, my birthday, to change, to extend.
You know what, dude? If you want to introduce some cheap vegan food, dried beans, and cook them, holy shit. I mean, you can get a bag of like 15 pounds for, $9. It's just, it will last you so long.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about cheap food that's, good for you. You really, pound for pound, you cannot get better than that. Calorically dense. It gives you the protein that the meat won't. Anyways, I'll get off my bean soapbox here. I talked about it last show. I think people are getting sick of it.
No.
But it's, yeah, you're right. There are, dozens of those little life hacks that I've just made habits. And they're very.
Yeah, I wish I was, smarter with money. What can you do? I think I brought this story before. I always remember this story, and this was probably like 20 years ago. But some like a black woman died in the South, and she gave like $5 million to local black women's college. I forget what it was. Mm-hmm. And it turned out she was just a housekeeper for her entire life, barely made any money, but I don't know if she saved every dollar she could. And so this is somehow a woman who's probably made never more than $15 an hour. Just kept maybe she was living at her mom's house or whatever and not paying, but it's a pretty awesome story, I think, inspiring in several ways. She didn't want some of the other young black girls in the neighborhood. She wanted them to do more than clean houses, which I guess is what she did. But that's pretty sick.
I read a book recently. I've listened to it many times. Everyday Millionaire, another one that's very similar to it, Millionaire Next Door. And the vast majority of millionaires have jobs like teachers, making half the salary I do, engineers, common jobs like janitors, common jobs like that. But they're the one thing that they all do is they just live on 85 to 60% of their annual income. And the rest just gets invested into something that's given them 8 or 9%. And that's it.
Right. Yeah. That's probably, frugal. Of course, $1 million is also worth pointing out. It just isn't really that much money anymore. I remember when I was running deep in one of the WSOP events, like somebody was like, what are you going to do if you win $1 million? I'm like, I don't know, buy a condo in Carlsbad. So, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about overall $1 million, I mean, some of these millionaires are very rich, obviously, but I mean, like for the people who have.
Well, this is just the 90% of millionaires. The other 10% that are worth multiple millions, most of them have their own business, because that saves you so much money on taxes.
Well,
I mean, imagine making, $100,000 a year, and you get to keep 97,000 of that, as opposed to making $100,000 a year and you only keep 70 or 75.
Well, there's, of course, people inherit it. And just
it's just the high end. 19% of everyone will get an inheritance. So one out of 5 will get an inheritance. If you do, you're just lucky, but the vast majority of people do not get an inheritance. And what's interesting about this is the same percentage is for millionaires as well. They also, 19% of them get an inheritance. So most millionaires do not become a millionaire from getting an inheritance. They do it from it's a long game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously the high paying jobs too, the doctors and the professional athletes, and they're all millionaires, but Yeah.
Well, maybe just because they're getting 300K a year does not mean that they're a millionaire. If they, a millionaire is someone that has a net worth of $1 million. So let's say he has a house
I
that's
think
worth.
the average doctor probably has a house that's more than $500,000 and some sort of some sort of big fat plan 401k investment. But I don't know, Steve. You know more about money than I do, certainly.
What's interesting? You're right. $1 million isn't that much in today's money, but what it will get you. Let's say you have $1 million, and you were to put that in something in the stock market, and let's say conservatively, you can make 6% a year. My dad's told me that's pretty accurate, and he's been retired now for a long time. And he's like, don't plan on 8, because I was telling him 8, and he's like, 6 is more realistic. And but $1 million will get you $60,000 a year. I could live on that easy.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you don't have to work anymore. That money's just sitting in that account. You pull out $60K a year, a little less actually, so that each year it continues to grow. And there you go. So you pull out 55 instead of 60.
Isn't there? I get it. What is like? I'm trying to think. I remember hearing somebody. I zone out somewhere. Talking about money was like, oh, you can take. I think there's something I overheard at poker table. Probably. It's like, oh, you can take 4% out of your savings or investments a year. That's tax free. Is there some sort of magic number like that? So basically, if you had $1 million, you could take 40,000 a year out without it being taxed. So you could, kind of basically live off the interest, and hopefully it's.
I haven't heard that. I don't know what that is.
Okay. I'll have to
ask my CPA.
It's probably horseshit, but yeah, I mean, I guess just how a trust works. I don't even.
Well, there are programs that you can do. One's called a Roth IRA that you can contribute to until you turn 59 and a half. And when all the money you put into that, you've already paid taxes on. So when you go to withdraw it, you're not taxed. Everything in there is yours, all the interest and everything. Maybe that was something they're talking about.
No clue.
Okay.
I don't know why I brought it up. I thought it would immediately get your, I think you said 1.5 million is what in your mind is the magic number for you to retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, if you'd like to see that, you'd like to live a comfortable retirement and see that number grow. That might be a little challenging. I don't know if you can live off 60,000 a year, Steve. I mean, you can if you're living in Colombia
Exactly.
If you overseas might be the way to go for you, and you own your little.
That is it. Yeah, the Caribbean, I believe, is where I'm going. I love the beaches of Asia, but it's far away. Every time you go there, I plan on commuting between Vegas and someplace in the Caribbean, maybe along the Pacific. I don't know, but I want clear water. I want to be able to go spearfishing, cook my lunch, have a couple palm trees by the beach. And you can get that in other countries for a fraction of what you can in this country. I mean, it's just, 30K an acre on a beach like that in another country, and in an acre in California on the beach. What would that be?
I think it's still probably.
How many millions, and that's without the house.
Yeah, how about like a specific like target in like an expat community in like Costa Rica? Aren't there like towns that are basically Americans?
There's a lot of those. Yeah. There's a lot of those. I've learned the more I travel, I enjoy kind of getting off the beaten path and maybe living with the locals a little more. So you could go to an expat place and that acre will be 60 grand instead of 30, or I'm just throwing out numbers, but it, I kind of like, and I want it to be a Spanish place. I like the Latin culture. But I don't know. There's a couple.
I don't know. Say anything on the beach, an acre for 60,000 sounds, regardless of where it is. That might be anywhere in the Caribbean. A lot of rich guys want to move there, Steve. I don't know. I don't want to dampen your spirits. It's cheaper living there than Southern California. Obviously. Your money,
I think so.
Your money will go
But
farther.
See, the beauty of that is having two homes is you chase the good weather. You don't have to be there during monsoon season.
I'm excited, Steve.
I
I just realized why am I rooting for you to fail, Steve? I need you to be successful so I have a place to visit in the Caribbean. I'm not, of course, rooting for you to fail.
I will have more than one bedroom, Mikey. You'll be welcome to sleep in one of them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of funny. I'm communicating a lot with my brother and sister because of my health crisis, and I don't want to get too much into it. But they're asking me to do this and that. And, I said, listen, let me make it clear. I am going to be a burden to someone for a long time here. Basically but a long story, I don't know how my retirement would work. I think I told you my mother wrote me out of my sister and brother will get money upon her death.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a trust. I have no idea what it is. She told me she's going to write me out maybe altogether. I don't even blame her. But I don't really care. And I'm like rooting for her because I have no plans for the money other than just to keep treading water.
Okay.
So if I had a trust when I'm 70 somehow, or with a couple thousand a month, I don't know fucking how it works. And my chump change Social Security and probably be living. And I told my sister she's got 3 houses now. She does very well. So I said, I'll be living in the guest room of one of your houses eventually. And, you'll decide which that is. She says that's ridiculous, but I'm family, Steve.
It's so damn lovable.
It's responsible. People are responsible to carry my deadbeat ass is the way I look about it. This girl I'm trying to get with, she's very tough woman. She's not going to put up a lot of crap. So I have to she's got all these different things I need to do before I can win her back. She made it clear. And some of them are not pleasant to me, Steve. Quitting poker, of course, is one of them. Getting a real job. Coming out with some plan to get out of debt. She also wants me to go to behavioral therapy to change some of my ways. And I said, listen, I'm fucking, got one foot in the grave here. You really think someone's changing at this point in their life? But the behavioral therapy, I think, might be negotiable. Stopping playing poker is not. So I have to, because one of the problems we had many moons ago with my gambling, so give her total control of the finances kind of shit,
How is she financially?
I don't think I wouldn't describe her as rich, but yeah, she's got a couple of homes and very, very tight, but very, very tight with money. Do you know what I mean? I don't know specifically. I wouldn't be surprised if she has some very good savings, even though she's never been rich, just because for all the reasons you said.
But she's got 2 homes. She rents one of them out.
No, well, I don't even know, Steve. I think one of her homes, she technically bought it from her parents, although her parents still live there. One of those things. I don't know how that works. Kind of a lawful wealth transfer where you buy a home and without low interest, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself here, Steve. But
she could be a good influence on you, Mikey.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. I don't even know if she could tolerate me. If I made all these different changes, there's still a chance I could hustle and do everything right, and then move east and after my son graduates, and get kicked out of the house 6 hours for doing something.
And does she have any kids?
Yeah, she's got one child who's 9 years old or 10 years old.
Okay.
So the issue too, and single parents get together, especially just from experience watching that. You're always going to love your kid more than the other kid. I mean, let's be honest, right? And then inevitably, you get one kid might go to law school, and one kid might play poker, and one kid might have financial needs, and one kid, you know what I mean? You don't know what's coming down there. I can see how that could be because I talked to someone in that circumstance. They said, well, that's going to be a constant battle in his relationship. But like I said, I would just be in the mindset where this woman is totally, calling the shots, which is the way my father had it with my mother, which I think it's a good arrangement. Steve, you're the alpha male. You wouldn't like that. I think I told you it was funny with the different way parents or kids see their parents differently. I was talking to about my mom, and I'm like, man, Dad is so lucky that he got a smart woman who can make decisions or something. And my brother's like, he's been getting pushed around for years. You know what I mean? Like I need someone to make decisions. So that's putting someone else in charge. And yeah, my father never got help for gambling. I don't know if it was not certainly at my level, but my mother had to take total control of the finances too, because he was playing the stock market and not investing, but gambling. Although I don't know if he realized it at the time. You know what I mean? That is also an addiction for a lot of people. A lot of these day traders, especially. I've seen a couple of them at the casino. Yeah, they're flipping back and forth. There's one guy I said, I want to look at your yearly summary, because and then I saw he had paid like $55,000 in charges or something to whatever.
Oh my God.
To whatever, because he keeps flipping these things every day, and there's days where he makes. I mean, he had a lot of money. I don't know how many transfers but my guess is it's pretty much being like a sports bettor. It's like the house takes 10% and you're just trying to, break even, or I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know how the fees work.
No, that's entirely
But
right.
if you're buying and selling,
when you flip them so fast, you never get any dividends, and you.
Well, that's kind of what you do with the day trading, I guess. But I don't know, like when there's no holding a stock, because nothing goes up like 400% in a day, but over the course of a year, it can go up. I don't know. I think I told you quickly, Steve, on the financial front here. I think I told you this is when I had a little money in the bank, obviously, just a few months ago. I don't know how things went south so quick when me and my son started a little stock portfolio.
Yeah.
Anyways, we put in 5,000 and made 1,900, and my son thought it was cool because I gave him 10%,
That's cool.
But the guy who gave me advice, this one guy lives right around the corner, and I don't know if he owns the piece of the company. He's always talking about Inovio, INO. Did we have a discussion before? I got it anyways.
No, but I was calling one of my financial advisors, and he told me about that one. And I looked it up, and I was like, wow, this would have been great to know 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's over the course of the year. Well, supposedly it's one of those medical research things that's doing COVID shit. Although, anyways, I bought it at, I think, 13 and sold it for $31, like a month and a half later. So I had pretty good timing.
Nice.
But then I'll have to look what it dropped to. It dropped all the way down again. And it was like $8 the other day. And I ran into this guy. He says it's going to be 100 within 6 months. Get everything you can. So, Steve, I thought I would throw that out for you, although we both know I don't know shit about shit.
Okay.
15.
Full disclaimer, have not looked at the graph in over a week, and I buy at your own risk. I don't think I'll be getting any. I don't know if they make a dividend or not.
I don't know.
Usually when you hear about a stock, it's already too late, because that's why you're hearing about it.
Well, like I said, it was, I heard about it beforehand and I sold it a good time. It had gone up to, 11 to 33, and now it's all the way to, a lot of people. I did my research quotate. When I say research, I mean, I like Google Inovio and look at the first, look at one page article of two of them, or about what somebody wrote about it. Somebody said it was way overvalued. I remember.
Okay.
But all it takes is like a little, I guess Moderna is the other company, most likely, maybe someone is explaining me, to get the vaccine. And, yeah, that one has been, let me look at 52-week low, $13.53, 52-week high, $95.21. So somebody could have made a lot of money in that one too. So that's gone up 700% on the year or whatever. And it's down to 66. So maybe if it's going back up to 90, but yeah, like you said, if I know about it, that's a sure sign that it's old news. But it's funny, this one guy who seems to know a lot about the financial stuff is always pulling me aside and, wants to give me advice or whatever. So this is my insider tip, that there's all sorts of government funding from here and there that's coming. So I don't know how this shit works.
Well, what would you be comfortable losing?
Well, I got nothing. I mean, Christ, I got no money. You know what I mean? But
well, you could buy 10 shares at $80.
No, I can't, Steve.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, although I just got the 17,000 in the bank, I owe one friend $3,500. I had another friend who, well, he said I didn't know it. It was a gift, but it was, I'd like to pay him back. He gave me $2,000 just without even me asking, because I was, he knew about my severe financial crisis and the so what was I? What am I talking about, Steve? I don't even know. Oh, money. Yeah, I am not flush with money here because like I am kind of operating under this assumption that I will never make another dollar in poker, which probably is not true. But in case it is, basically I got enough money to scrape it out for a few months here. I'm going to keep. It's going to turn around, Steve. But I might be like a $25 an hour player now and not 50 for whatever reason. Well, one of these hands will be kind of relevant to that because it's a guy I've played with a bunch, but I hadn't played him with a while. Okay. And like right after the hand, like the muscle memory kicked in, and I'm like, this is why you pay attention to the table. This is why you take notes. Yeah. This is why even as you go older and the mental capacity diminishes, because just like when the body turns 28, 29, whatever it is we're growing, when we start slowly, the cells start dying, your body starts to slow decline. The mind is the same way. You're losing just a little bit of brain power each year. So, I mean, I've already established there's no way I can play poker in 5 years. My best chance to still be a poker player, quotation marks, whatever, is to, get 4 or 5,000 a month from outside poker as an artiste. And then I could still manage to get 4 or 5,000 a month, playing poker. The pressure to play as many hours and to have the hourly as high would be decreased. I don't know, Steve. That's about it. But yes, I guess my point is I do not have investing money right now. Sorry, I got off a tangent. You want to quickly discuss a few hands, or we wind it up here? Let's do it. If we go over 2 hours, Steve, you can even chop this up into 2 episodes maybe. But let me see here.
Hand, I'm assuming.
There's this is 2-5, although I've been playing mostly 2-3. And it's 8-handed at the casino, by the way. I don't know if it's really too relevant. And so the second player to act limps. I guess that's UTG 3, but it's really kind of UTG 2 in this 8-handed. But I'm just looking at the next player, who I've listed as loose wreck, calls the limp. And I have ace king off in the hijack right next to the two limpers.
And what'd you describe the first guy as?
He's not going to be the main villain of this hand. I don't know. A lot of limpers here at this table. That usually is a sign that you're at a good table, though I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing because. What's your size here, Steve? I'm assuming you're raising.
What's you said ace king off, right?
I'm looking. I didn't realize I had such a big stack here. Wow, I got 3,100 in my stack. I had one pretty good.
31. And what are the others?
Last week, even though.
What are the stacks of the other two guys?
All I have is the guy on my right started the hand with $575.
575. Okay. UTG 3. And our position is what?
Hijack.
Okay. What's the table like to your left? Cutoff button, blinds.
I'm sorry.
What are the guys like to your left? Do you have 3 pros to your left?
No. There's no table that I've sat at with 3 other pros here for sure since this casino's reopened. I don't have the notes, although this hand apparently was yesterday.
Okay.
I remember the villain quite well. I don't know, Steve. You're asking more questions than I think is relevant.
I don't know. I did a lot of limping at this table. I'd probably make it 7, 8x, like 35, 40, something like that.
I make it 40, and the cutoff calls. So it's really, I don't mind callers. I don't prefer that there weren't callers in position against me. Cutoff calls, the original limper calls, and then the guy described as loose wreck directly on my right makes it 275.
275.
Now, he had just a few hands earlier. I forget how it ran, but he limped, raised kings, like under the gun or early position.
Okay.
So he does do this with big hands, but the big caveat here is that was when he limped first. He wasn't completing another person's limp.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I do ISO a fair amount, the limpers, but like, I don't know who would he be setting up here for? Basically, I think the chances of him having kings plus are certainly much less this time than the previous time.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Just from position, from his call of the original limper. But I don't know. I can't remember. There's a hand. Yeah. It was like limp, limp, limp. And then another guy limps with like two guys to act. And that guy had like, I happen to have kings this hand, I think, and the guy had aces, if I remember correctly. But it was impossible to, I'm like, it's an old man. He probably has it. I shouldn't go call, after I raise, and he just back shoved after someone called. I'm like, he's got to have aces, right? But I'm like, nobody over limps after three other limpers with aces.
Yeah. Who does that?
So here I can't. But it's kind of funny. I'm always talking to one guy who's like, you overplay ace king always, man. It's a drawing hand, So I folded.
Okay.
A lot of it's a good table, and I didn't want to gamble for $600, I guess is the way I would. So I fold, and the next two players fold, and this guy turns over.
Okay, wait. Before he turns over, I was going to go for reship it here. I think it's almost never that the cutoff is going with it, or the UTG guy.
You got dead money in there too. The other two people are never calling.
Yeah, exactly. We got, okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. What is it? At least $120 in dead money. So I think a lot of times here he's got like a pair. In which case we're not great against, but with the extra dead money in.
Yeah, it's an easy shove. Especially, I've got, not that you really think about this, you're always playing effective stacks and not stacks, but I mean, I got fucking $3,100 to start the hand here.
And he's got 575. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got a fucking ace king, and it's a guy who right after the hand, I'm like, wait a second, dude, this guy fucking loves to bluff. He can be spewy, Yeah. So I was disgusted with myself after this. So now, Steve, I've opened up my game, and that I make horrible folds as often as I make horrible calls. So I'm just, I mean, I've made some
ace queen or
I've made some very good laydowns. I can know, but showing this hand to a buddy of mine, he's the one who's like, dude, you used to be so much better 2 years ago. You really used to, put more pressure on people. I'm like, I'm gambling more than ever here. Not gambling more than ever, but bluffing more than ever. I couldn't really, but maybe this would be an example of it. Or just flat, like even if I don't know, if we were 1,100 effective, what I would do. The shoving here is clearly the move. And anyways, he turned over ace jack off.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's just stupid. The villain, I think he even announced like 5 minutes earlier. It's like, I got to go in 10 minutes.
That's a sign.
I mean, it's a bad fold there.
He was looking for a hand to leave on.
Yeah, he made it. He just like, he's thinking the same thing. There's a lot of dead money if I can just get Mike to fold. A guy who ISOs wide. So I don't even really dislike his move. And he's putting his half his stack and committing, and it looks, I mean, again, his limping behind gives me a lot of information on that the first, I think that really reduces the chance of him having queens plus there. Yeah. And even against queens plus, I still have 40% equity.
You're just as good as you are against tens.
Okay. The more I talk about this,
actually probably better.
The more I talk about it, the more pissed off I'm getting. Do you want to go to the next hand? Do one more hand?
Sure.
Or two more hands,
yeah,
whatever you want, Steve.
No,
so UTG2, there's a guy with $2,100 here. I don't know if it's racist. I refer to him as Asian dope as the screen
Asian
names.
dope. Okay.
I have all sorts of names here. Mouth breathing jackass, hates money loon. I mean, just when I share hands with friends, I like to come up with funny names. But anyways, this guy had been it's funny. The previous night, I'd never seen someone play so terribly. Just 300 and 400 at a time, again and again, all in. Probably lost like 3,500.
This is still a 2-5 table.
This is a 2-5. So he raises, and I have Ace King of Diamonds in the cutoff. He raised to 25.
What's he raised to? 25.
And I only have 700 to start the hand, and he's got 2,100.
Okay. And you said you're in what position?
Cutoff.
Cut off.
He's 3 to my right. Whatever the hell.
Ace King of Diamonds?
Yes. He made it 25. I think, again, this guy opens a lot. Oh, he limps a lot. So I don't know if that makes his hand here a little stronger. But I'm always raising here.
Yeah.
Again, if there was somebody behind me that I thought was a high squeeze possibility, maybe I flat re-raise or something. But I think it's pretty straight.
And we got 700 what?
$700. But this is a weak
so-
player. We can play in position with a strong hand. So I think it's a 3-bet every time.
Yeah.
I think he's going to call pretty much every raise. This is a kind of situation I have with these kind of effective stacks. On the one hand, you can, like, if you know they're going to call, you can really size up and get them to put in more money with a bad hand. But on the other hand, when on a short bankroll, when you're running bad, all of a sudden you start getting that lower stack to pot ratio, where it's just, you see bet and the guy shoves over and you're got a call with the Ace King over because you got 25% equity and it's already, So basically, I make it 80 here, but I'm like, honestly, this guy probably calls King Jack off for $125. You know what I mean? If I wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say 85 to 100, but maybe even more than 100 is if he's calling that week.
Again, but I get, he will call with hands that are dominated. So maybe we want to keep him in the hand too. But, like I said, we can charge him more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fine. And the next 3 players fold and goes back to the original raiser, and he calls.
Perfect.
$167 in the pot.
Okay.
And the flop is Jack 6-4 with the Jack of Diamonds.
Jack 6-4 with the Jack of Diamonds. Okay. Villain?
The villain leads for $100.
Hero. My first instinct was just shove. You got 2 overs, backdoor diamond, backdoor straight. But like every time, does he just snap you off with 9s here?
Well, I don't know. First of all, the couple pros I asked about this were just like gave 1-word answers, fold, not flop. But these guys
Okay.
never bluff. And I do think I do. Overall, bluffing less would be a good idea for me, but I do feel like I see spots and take spots that are profitable that other people just pass on. So this guy, first of all, this is what he does a lot. He was, like I said, the previous night, it was like he loves the donk lead, and then he'll call raises with like second and third pair kind of shit. Or, you know what I mean? He got it in really bad often. And, but I just said, this is kind of it. Well, I just kind of gave away where the hand's going a little bit. I decide to raise.
Okay.
Probably shoving makes it. I thought it would look, I considered shoving. I did think about that. And I'm like, you know what? Raising for like half my stack would look even stronger, I think.
See, he's never folding a jack regardless, right? If we shove,
Right. Yeah. So I guess we can.
Is he folding 10s or 9s or 8s, 7s here?
That's what I'm targeting. I was thinking more that he had like that. Well, first of all, he has some total air in his range, and in terms of targeting, yeah, I thought he would have to fold. I thought he would have to fold all those under pairs. I thought my range looks too strong. I mean, I'm 3-betting. And if he's donking in here with something less than a jack, I mean, doesn't he have to fold to this bet? Was my thought. I raised to 335, and he takes quite a while before calling.
He just calls?
So there's $837 in the pot, and I only have $285 in my stack when we go to the turn.
Okay.
So it checks to me. On a 9 of clubs is the turn, and it checks to me. Are there any? Which cards are you shoving? Shoving any turn card? Are there turn cards you're shoving? Specific turn cards you are shoving, but others you're just checking and giving up on? Or usually, if it was a 10 or queen hit where I picked up a straight draw, in addition to the 2 overs, I probably just shove. I don't know if he's got.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got a folding range here. You never know. The guy could have called with 5-7. Which case we can just shove, and if we get called, I mean, that's not horrible either, obviously. If he's got a jack, I decide just to shut it down. And I'm already pissed off that I made this bluff. And I'm like, this guy's too dumb to fold anyways. And obviously at this point where he's pot committed. So check on the flop, on the turn, I should say. And then the 4 of diamonds on the river, final board. Jack 9, 6, 4, 4. No flush, no straight out there. Checks again on the river. Again, because I'm short stacked, this would I think I just have to just check behind and save that money. But there's so much money in. I mean, how often does he have to fold? I put it in. Let's see, 285, 1120. Yeah, I mean, if he's folding even like 20%, we're making money there.
What do you have left? 285?
That's all I got. 285 into a pot of 837. So 11 something.
Like 1100.
Yeah. So it's like, 23, 24% of the time, probably whatever the fuck it is.
23.
Yeah.
23%.
Are we getting that many folds? I decided in my mind that this guy's going to call, that he had a pair and he's calling 100%. And for some reason he doesn't have a pair, but whatever. I don't know. Yeah. We would, even the board, the final 4, I was like, maybe he's just got a 4 on the turn. I was like, maybe I can shove it. And then another 4 in the river. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It checks in the river, and pretty good ranging by you, Stevie. He does have pocket 8s.
Okay.
So this is another example of, well, the guy being an idiot because, the previous, I mean, I play less hands, but I do play them more aggressively. So I don't, whatever. I every bluff I've made over the last 6 months have been called off, Steve. I don't know if maybe that's a sign, but yeah, the question was on the flop, what am I trying to get him to fold? And I thought anything less than a jack. And I'd seen the guy play the previous night where he's just playing every hand and playing it crazy. So why would I? But I also thought, for the first time, he had, a lot of chips for him. He had over 2,000 in chips. So maybe he'd be a little more protective, but maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Either way, I think 80% plus people fold there when I raise. Maybe not.
I'm
especially off that stack side. A lot of times if someone donks into me on that, especially on a dry board, like queens plus, with the jack high board, I might just call and not raise. So like people who played against me for a while, my check raising range, especially if it's like late position or something like that, is often, turn a river is much more likely to be a bluff than a value hand. I'm sure the regs know that. But here off this stack, like if I had queens plus, I would just be getting it in against this villain for sure. Yeah. So this is how I would play the top of my range. So I don't think you can see my line and say, oh, I never. This might have been an interesting one, Steve, for me to you play the other player and me discuss my action and what you would do. I think you would probably.
I was just doing the math right now on the raise you gave him on the flop, and he was getting a little bit better than 2.5 to 1 on a call.
But that is,
he's got to call a pot of 600 and.
But if he's behind, he's not catching up. He's only got 2 out.
Yeah.
So it'd be one thing even if he had like. I don't know. 6 ace 6. He could have 5 outs at least, versus 2 outs. Yeah. You know what I mean? 2 pair outs.
Yeah.
I think I think maybe we both played this terribly. trying to look at it objectively. I don't know.
Well, I think you just taught me something about my own game. I think I bet like you did with aces, and I think I shove with ace king, and that's you play enough against a guy, and you'll notice that, you know. So that might be a weakness in my game right there, because this line that you took, I think I do the same thing with aces or kings. Maybe even make it smaller. Maybe I make it like 285 or something. And then when I don't want to call with ace queen of diamonds here, or ace king of diamonds like you had, I just shove the flop. And that's yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't hate your raise then, because you're doing that with overpairs. You're doing that with queens, kings, and aces, and you have to do that with a hand like this to not be
That's something
completely
just,
predictable.
I don't study the game, Steve, which as we've established is a problem for someone who's trying to make a living as a poker player. But just watching other players, I know one guy, he's like kind of interesting with bet sizes, like on a river, like with 900 in the pot, if he's got 600 a stack, he'll bet like 515.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It kind of looks if you shove, people are like, oh, he's bluff shoving. But if you do, this is what was my thinking here. If I shove, he might put me on ace king. But when I raise, like, not my entire stack, it looks stronger. So, yeah, I guess just a bad play. I mean, if I was deeper stacked, maybe if I could do that, and then seeing how unhappy he was calling the flop, then I got enough to shove turn and get off it. But it's not the worst hand I've ever played.
No.
You want to do one last hand?
Yeah. I'll get a brand new fresh sheet of paper. There we go.
Under the gun limps. He's got $700. Tommy, a guy I play with quite a bit, Asian Tommy.
Asian Tommy. And this is also 2-5.
This is 2-5. These are all hands from the other day, I think. And I have aces next to act in the
UTG one.
Yeah, I guess basically it's UTG, UTG 2 under the.
Okay. Ace for hero.
And I am always raising there.
Yes.
This is a hand where 7 people limp behind. I can't, this table, I can't expect them. So I make it 35. I think pretty standard. I maybe, I would do the same thing with 10-9 suited to keep the sizing. The small blind and the big blind and the original limper call. So it's 4 ways. We're gonna go 4 ways to the flop here.
Okay, small blind, big blind, and UTG.
And I got the ace of clubs and the ace of hearts.
Okay, what do we got? 140 in the pot?
Yeah, I have. I started the hand with $1,140, and the guy in the small blind, who I call average loon here, has me covered like 1,300. Okay. And Tommy has 700 to start the hand.
700. Okay. All right. So UTG limps, Asian Tommy. He limps $5. He's got 700 behind. We have aces with a little over 1,100. We make it 35. Folds the small blind. The average loon calls. The big blind calls. Original limper, Asian Tommy calls. Okay. Average loon and small blind is 1,300. What's the big blind, or is he kind of insignificant so you don't remember?
No, yeah, I didn't write it down.
Okay, I'll put a slash mark. All right. What's
140 in the pot. Check.
Yes.
The flop is King 8-7 2.
King 8-7 2 clubs. Which are the clubs?
The 8 and 7.
8 and 7 of clubs. Okay. Actions on small blind.
It checks to me. Check.
Okay. Check. And check. What suits are aces?
Ace of clubs and ace of heart.
So we have a backdoor club draw and an overpair. I don't know, 120. Maybe, I might even overbet the pot in this spot. Maybe make it like 160 and or 180 or something. A king is never folding. Straight draws and club draws. I don't. Maybe they would fold for that. I don't think at a table like you've described, they might even shove into something like that. I don't know. I
I
probably
kind of like
overbet it.
the going big here. The
I want to
problem
get heads
is
up
I
with the
don't
one guy
know.
that's got the club draw.
I don't know, especially someone I can't remember exactly who. No, I do remember this guy. Average. If it's somebody who's going, you might. I don't think you can fold to a shove here, and you hate to get a call off with one pair. But with the draws out there, somebody might overvalue their king. Yeah, I kind of like the bigger bet sizing. I don't know. I'm like, it was kind of half neurotic here. I took a little while. I was like, is checking here actually an option? Anytime I have aces in like a 4-way pot or more, I'm like, let's just not get stacked this hand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody always has 2 pair, and like here, you can't really. Normally, you would restrict the rent. The only thing that beats us is, still 9 sets. Well, nobody ever has kings. They would have raised. So basically, 3 combos of 8-7 suited and 6 combinations of sets there. So only 9 combos we're worried about here. But anyways, I make it 80.
Okay.
And this is one of those things where I'm making a bet without. I couldn't decide if not to bet. Do I go big? So this is kind of some weird ass compromise where I bet 50% a pot. But I have aces. I'm on a decent board for aces, and I want to get some more money in there. So the small blind calls, the big blind folds, and Tommy calls.
Okay. So 240 plus 140 is
well, there's $380 in the pot right now.
380. Yes, there we go.
Turn is a jack of clubs. So we now have the nut flush draw.
Okay. Yeah, see, I feel like if we bet like 160 or something like I was talking about, we either just win the pot or we get action from the one guy that has a straight draw or something, you know what I mean? Or like a king queen.
We charge the flush draws, but the flush draws are
draws
never
more than what it is what they should be paying. And the straight draw is the same, and you get action from a king. You're also going to get action from the sets and 2 pairs like we talked about, but there's a lot more kings and straight and flush draws out there than there are.
Yeah, maybe. It's
anyhow.
What did I want to say about the hand here? I don't know. But again, like I don't know if 140 gets a lot more folds than 80. Like a lot of these players are not playing like range versus range. Oh, he's got it. They're just playing their hand. So anyone with a flush,
they're like, well, I got a king. I'm not folding.
which is fine. I guess we got more people putting more money bad, but the betting bigger doesn't increase their fold frequency that much. I think not as much as it should, certainly. So jack of clubs, the small blind leads out for $105. And Tommy calls.
Oh, fine. I don't like it. I don't like raising now. 9-10 got there. The flush draw got there. King Jack got there.
Well, we're definitely not folding to that size because it 580 in the pot or 590 in the pot, 105. So even
no, I'm not suggesting
no,
that.
I'm just saying.
I was thinking
just going through the other options.
Raising, I think is
raising and folding are the worst options for sure.
Yes, I think so. I'm not sure which one is worse. Probably raising. Anyhow, I don't think we can raise. I don't think we can fold.
I think if they made it, if the guy had made it 200, I'd probably just fold here, even with the nut flush. So. Well, I don't know because the guy's name I have written as Loon. So if I hit here, implied odds. I mean, even if he's got just like the 6 of clubs or something, you never know. When people hit a flush and then psychologically, and then the 4 flush comes, they have trouble folding. Do you know what I mean? You're entitled kind of thing. Just like when you flop a straight and like the board pairs and the flush comes in, it's like, fuck this. I flop the nuts. I call. I think it's the only real move. There's now.
I think so too.
I can't even read. My glasses are having trouble looking at this. 695 in the pot. Does that sound right?
315, 280. Yep, 695.
The river is a queen of diamonds, which again, not a great. We missed our flush. Where at least one of these people has us beat with 2 pair. You got to figure, right?
I would think so, yeah.
So I already pretty much knew that there's no hand I'm proceeding with other than a club. And Hates Money Loon makes it 200, and Tommy calls. And I fold.
Yeah.
And Hates Money Loon has Jack of Spades, 8 of diamonds for 2 pair.
Of course.
This could be good. I mean, this is I raised 30. He overcalled with Jack 8 off in the small blind against an early position isolator. So, and Tommy had 10-9 of hearts that he won with. So he did turn the straight. I figured one of them had to have a goddamn flush. So I just thought this was. I give myself credit for playing aces cautiously here.
Mm-hmm.
Or there maybe I should have been. I think you got a good point there on the flop there. 200 on the flop. Even like like you said, a little overbet or whatever.
Yeah, 160 to 185, something like that. Just more than the pot. And I think one of these guys folds.
I mean, after playing after the flop, the turn and the river are pretty much as played. Standard moves here to call the turn.
And then fold the river.
And then fold the river, I think. So I guess I
completely agree. As played, I think turn and river, there's nothing else to do. But I think the move here, I love the pre-flop raising it up. If you're getting 4 callers here, making it 35, maybe with aces pre-flop, you need to, or your hands, you need to start making it like 50. Try to get heads up in position,
I don't know how to respond to something.
Because these multi-way pots are just, Alex Fitzgerald calls them death. And the more multi-way pots I play, the more I'm like,
right. You don't want to kill the. I
right.
think 50. Yeah, 50 is a big number. Maybe
okay.
Maybe it is.
What amount can you make it that you only get 1 caller?
Yeah, probably.
Is that amount 45?
I mean, 50 is probably fine here, especially when it's kind of early position. So you still have 6 people who can call you or re-raise you. Like if it was a cutoff raise from the button, I would never make it 50. If it was a cut and I would make it 30 for sure. First of all, I know I have position on the hand, regardless of what the other players do. You know what I mean? Where here potentially I can raise and be out of position in the hand, against several people. Yeah. So yeah, I think a little bigger pre-flop maybe.
Yeah. And then just with this board texture with aces, king 8-7 of clubs, we have the ace of clubs. I think you can just bomb the flop. Just try to get in with one guy.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you bomb this and then average loon shoves for 13. Well, an average loon shoving there, I think you got to call him. But
yeah, that's kind of hard.
Tommy's so short stacked, you probably have to call him too. But let's say you were both 2K effective and you bomb the flop like that and they just rip it.
I don't know.
Probably 2 pair or better, unless they're maybe 9-10 of clubs, but you're probably not a favorite.
I don't know. With a flush draw and me able to take top set out of their range, I don't think I can fold to a shove there.
Okay,
is my first instinct.
In these stack sizes, I say no. Maybe you're right. Maybe you couldn't.
Yeah, this is again. This is me on a short roll, though, Steve. This is me showing up at a 2-5 game with only 1,900 in my pocket or something. You know what I mean? Not even 3 buy-ins.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I'm not winning money at the casino. I know that much. I wish I knew why. I run bad. I don't want to be like one of those people who blames everything on run bad. And I think that's like a massive part of it here for sure. But there's something I'm doing wrong. I haven't got high while I'm playing either. So I'm showing some discipline with that. I'm not overeating. I want to lose weight too, but just, so I'm not stuffed and bloated at the table. Hopefully it turns around, Steve. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I got a reprieve with the unemployment, but basically, yeah, I'm still really close to the edge here. So anyways, but talking to you, Steve, lightens the mood, of course.
It's good to have you back on, man.
I think you should tweet out about that, changing the number of the show. Possibly, you're thinking of it. If anyone else has any suggestions, but
yeah, that's a good idea. I will.
Okay, brother. I will talk to you soon.
All right, man. You have a good rest of the day. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
If you're about to do something for the first time, chances are high that you might embarrass yourself. But what it means is if you're willing to be the kind of person that is willing to embarrass themselves, it means you're trying something new. It means you're going for it when everybody else sits on the sidelines. And so one of the things that I would encourage you to do is that when you feel that tingling, like you're starting to hold yourself back because you start thinking about what all your friends are thinking about, that's a moment to go, oh, this is what that lady was talking about. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going for it.
Here's the key to the good life. Learn to put everything you've got into everything you do. Whatever you are doing, pour it on. It will quickly open up into opportunity or quickly disclose to you that you ought to be doing something else. The delusion is, if I had a better job, I'd really pour it on. See, that's delusion. Wherever you are, pour it on. Don't give somebody half a job for a day's pay. Pour it on. See, that'll help change your life.
Hey, work to your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas, they operate off potential. They're driven to reach their potential. This is also tied to their ethical obligation. They know what they're capable of. Nobody can tell you what you're capable of. You're the only one that knows. So work to your potential, not your quota.
So, how many of you believe in your life that your worst day can become your best day if you turn it around? I happen to believe that. That honestly, in a lot of books you read, oh, there's a seed of every adversity, there's a seed of greatness. You've all heard that before, right? But it's actually true. If you were to go back in your life, some of the greatest trials and tribulations, difficulties you've gone through have ended up producing the most beautiful things in your life. Is that true? Yes?
Even when you don't want it to be there, you can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself.
And I'm telling you, if you can apply this particular principle, this is like a key that's going to unlock all doors. I need you to deal with the problem. I don't care how complex, I don't care how big, I don't care how small the problem is. The secret is in actually dealing with it.